Back on BYU Sports Nation, Tony Levine, head coach of the Houston Cougars and former standout for the Minnesota Fighting Pike of the Arena Football League. Coach, why have we not discussed your arena football career before? This is visit number 3.
It is, and you know what? I was going to bring it up the first 2 visits, and I could never really incorporate it into any of my answers. My jersey's actually retired from the Minnesota Fighting Pike. So
Are
I
you
don't know
serious?
Why you well, in theory, the Pike only lasted 1 year. So after that season, all of our jerseys apparently were retired.
That's fantastic. A couple games into the season, what do you think of your squad so far in 2014?
Well, we're still a work in progress a little bit, and again, I think we saw improvement from Game 1 to Game 2 certainly, and again, this will be a good test for us going up against a top 25 opponent on the road for the first time for our program this year. But again, I thought on offense, defense, and special teams, we cut down the errors. We corrected some mistakes we had made. We cut the number of penalties in half from Game 1 to Game 2 as well. So again, some things certainly going in the positive direction. And again, looking for more improvement going into tomorrow night's game as well.
There's certainly a delicate balance of Thursday night games on ESPN. What do you think about the prospect of playing in those games on shortened weeks in the national spotlight?
I think it's great, and I think certainly anytime we play on a Friday night, which is typically when high schools play across the country, we've got tremendous respect for high school programs and hate to interfere with kind of their night. But at least for our program, when the schedule comes out and the TV kind of controls moving games around, and when this year we've got 5 midweek games, 2 Thursday nights. This will be our first, and then 3 Friday games nationally televised. So it's good exposure for our program. I think it allows not only our fan base and even high school recruits on Thursday nights the opportunity to watch you really on a big stage.
How has your offense changed, if at all, with Travis Bush now as the offensive coordinator this season?
It hasn't changed much. A new wrinkle here or there, but again, we try to play with great tempo. We do not huddle. We try to be as balanced as we can in terms of run to pass, but really our philosophy is the same. We're gonna try to get first downs, try to move the chains, try to be efficient on first down, and we're gonna throw quick game. We're gonna have some play action stuff, but again, the philosophy hasn't changed with Coach Bush taking over at offensive coordinator this season.
Tony Levine in his 3rd season as the head coach of the Houston Cougars, back on BYU Sports Nation for his 3rd trip to the show. Coach, John OCorn was so dynamite as a freshman, and you mentioned it was only his 2nd year of starting as a quarterback. He started his senior year in high school, and then he got the starting nod at Houston. He's had some up and downs this season through 2 games. How would you evaluate his play thus far?
Well, he's we've all made some mistakes, mistakes that we can certainly learn from, and I think again going back out and getting this 3rd opportunity. You got 12 games you're promised. This is very, very still early in the season, and I think the more he plays, the better he gets, and we got to get him out there, give him some confidence early. Get again, and it doesn't just fall on the quarterback. I think when you have struggles, people look at the quarterback first, and I think football is certainly the ultimate team sport, and I think offensively, in particular, you got to have 11 guys do their job for a play to be successful. So in terms of pass protection by the O-line or the running backs or the routes at the correct depth or dropping balls by receivers, it all has to work hand in hand. We got to establish a run. So, I think John is certainly capable. He showed that last year and had a great off season, had a great training camp. And again, I look for John to have a very good season this year.
Does he have a nickname? Because we've been calling him John Children of OCorn like for a year.
His nickname is John OCorn. So, and the reason I say that, a lot of people refer to individuals by their first name, sometimes their last name, and for whatever reason, people don't call him John. They call him John OCorn. So
it's snappy.
I guess his nickname is actually his full name.
Fair enough. We appreciate the clarification on that. So
Absolutely.
If last year was 47-46, which was one of the top college football games in the country, really, when you look at entertainment value, should we expect 63, 62 this season?
Well, someone asked me that the other day on a conference call, and it's. I don't predict scores of football games. You got a bunch of young men out there for it's 60 minutes on the scoreboard, but it's a 3.5-hour contest, and again, things can happen. Last year, we scored on special teams, we scored on defense, so the lead changed hands a number of times. So again, it's going to be two great programs going head to head, and should be a great football game.
But with that said, would you rather have it high scoring or low scoring?
To be honest with you, and I think most coaches would say this, I mean, we're going to try to win the football game, and I know certainly Coach Mendenhall and BYU is going to try to win the game. So if it's 3-2 or 83-82, I think the team with the 3 or the team with the 83 won't be complaining after the game's over.
Absolutely.
Certainly. As you process film of Taysom Hill and you watch him leap over the Texas defenders last week and him go wild against the Longhorns yet again, how do you prepare for a dual-threat quarterback like Taysom Hill?
Well, I think Taysom Hill is one of the premier quarterbacks in the country, and I don't think nationally he gets for whatever reason. I don't think he's getting the recognition he deserves. And he's I said this also this week. I mean, if there's such a thing as looking up the phrase dual threat quarterback in the dictionary, it's got to have his picture next to it. I mean, he's listed as 6'2", 233. I saw him in person a year ago. I feel like he's bigger than that. He certainly plays bigger than that. He can run extremely well. And I don't know that he gets the credit that he deserves for how well he throws the ball. He's got a quick release. He's very accurate, and he's very confident. And you can tell on the video, if nothing else, he's a team leader for BYU. So he's tough to prepare for. Again, you can sit there and say we want to stop this aspect of his game, then he can beat you with the other aspects. So it's again, it is a team game, and he's got a lot of weapons around him. But he's as talented, I think, a quarterback as there is in the country.
Coaches always want enough time to prepare for a game, and I know Spencer mentioned the Thursday game. Would you are you okay with sacrificing some prep for the exposure that brings an ESPN Thursday night game?
Yes, we are, and I think I think this game specifically, just having played each other last year, I think both programs should have some familiarity with each other. But again, for us to be able to play on ESPN Thursday night, there's only 2 or 3 games on, and the exposure it gives our program, it's something that while it may be a negative, the shorter preparation time, it's a positive with the exposure. Then having Friday, not having a game, it allows your staff to go on the road recruiting. So you certainly you make do, and I mentioned earlier, we got 5 midweek games, and we certainly like that exposure for our program.
Tony Levine, head coach of the Houston Cougars on BYU Sports Nation. What would a win over now 25th-ranked BYU do for the overall direction of your program this season?
Well, we take it one game at a time, and I know it's an old coaching cliche, but we really live by it here. And again, what we talk about each week is what we have to do, we feel like, to win that game that week. And we just want to try to be 1-0 at the end of the week. So again, no game is bigger than any others. I know BYU, rightfully, deservedly so, is ranked now in the top 25. It's a game that's going to be nationally televised on a Thursday by ESPN. But again, it's our next game. It's certainly a very, very important game. But we don't want to make them build them up too big, or certainly not have enough respect for any opponent. So it's a big game, and again, to answer your question specifically, we would achieve our goal of being 1-0 at the end of the week.
I saw some post-game quotes from you in reference to the quarterback situation, of the possibility of maybe opening that up and having Billy Kosh come in and compete for that. Is that open, or is it John OCorns right now?
No, it's John OCorns, and if you saw some quotes afterwards, it might have been just questions. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, John OCorn is our starter, will be our starter, gives us the best chance to win a quarterback. And in this last game, we rotated Greg Ward in for a couple of plays. We did that last year as well, and we had a Wildcat package. So, could things like that continue? Absolutely. If we feel like those packages give us a chance to move the chains and be successful in offense. But no, John OCorn, without any hesitation, will continue to be our starting quarterback.
BYU's defense gave up 10 points to UConn, a team in the American Athletic Conference that you will see later. And 7 points to Texas, so 8.5 points per game. What makes it difficult to compete against the type of BYU defense that they run this year?
Well, you know, a number of things, and I think when you think of BYU, and maybe this goes back to, in my opinion, you know, Taysom Hill not getting the credit I think he deserves, is BYU typically, they're known for their defense, or at least they have been traditionally, and you know, I think Coach Mendenhall, that's his background, and they're big, they're physical, they're multiple, and they're aggressive. They'll blitz, they play man, they do a little bit of everything. So they do a great job keeping offenses off balance. They do a great job on first down, and they do a great job against the run. So there's a number of things there. You know, again, I think around here what we talk about is we've got to concern ourselves with us and how we execute and how we perform and taking care of the football. So it's definitely a big challenge. I think when you look at BYU, and a big reason they're undefeated right now, ranked, is they're not a one-dimensional team. They're very efficient on offense, and they do a great job in the kicking game. So they're you know, a complete program right now in all three phases. But again, defensively, I think they've got a tremendous amount of confidence, and I think they've certainly got an identity.
Coach Tony Levine of the Houston Cougars on BYU Sports Nation. Always great to talk with you, Coach. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy week on a short week as you get ready for BYU. I only have one final request. Is there any way you could bring some Frenchy's chicken with you?
And, you know, we talked about that last time.
Yeah.
I'll see what I can do. I'm not an expert on how you would get that there and keep it fresh.
How do you transport that? Okay.
No, we've got a full-time dietitian on our staff. Let me visit with her. And see if, we could work something out.
Fair enough. Hey, Coach, great to talk to you.
Likewise. Thank you.